You got the supercharger, got the whistles, and then you've got the gates.
You got everything.
You got everything.
Look, it is a bit weird in a truck here.
Look, you do feel the weight, it is 3 tonne. My TRX where it sits is 1200 horsepower. It does 0 to 100 in 3 seconds. I'm sitting at 1700 RPM and I'm not even sure if I'm in 8th gear. I'm still in 7th, so we're in 8th gear now and I'm sitting at 1400 RPM.
So you've got a few utes here today. One of the utes we just took for a drive and you actually did some towing with it. That thing was whistling up the hill like it was dosing like a Mack truck.
It was.
So we're down here today at Dontex Performance, where these guys specialise in everything basically late model Hemi.
Yes, correct. So anything Jeep, Chrysler, Dodge and Ram, anything modern Hemi, so 2012 onwards, we're the place to go.
You've got SUVs, sedans and utes.
Covers all platforms. You've got your Ram for off-road, soccer mum's car, Jeep, you know, and then you've got your boy racer in a Chrysler. So it's a great product, good to see in Australia, and now I'm seeing a lot more. A lot of people are starting to get out of the Holdens because they're either too expensive. Yeah, well, they're either too expensive, or they're looking for something different. So they get into a Hemi, and we're starting to see more and more of it. So
yeah. Now in the shop here, what you've got naturally aspirated, supercharged, turbocharged. We've also got some twin turbo and supercharged. Like, you love Boost, yeah?
I love Boost, absolutely love Boost. Always supercharged, man. You won't get that out of me, but like I said to you before, loving my my turbos, and we're doing it very, very well. We're learning a lot along the way. But as you look around, there's a turbo, there's a naturally aspirated, there's a boosted car. No nitrous cars in here right now, but that's not far away. Yeah, we've got all variants in here.
And everything in here is heavy, yeah?
It's heavy.
Now, I just took your own TRX Ram for a drive. That thing's amazing.
It's good. It drives beautiful. It's got all the power in the world. Sorry you couldn't push it today with the rain. But, you know, you've got to experience it out in the weather, showing you that the turbos are no issue underneath the car. It does everything you need it to do.
So supercharged and turbocharged. You can't feel any sort of transition point at all.
No.
It just, you hear the supercharger whine, but I was surprised how quick the turbos are on. That's what I thought they'd come in a bit later, but it's just, it's perfectly linear.
They're on point straight away. You see the e-boost gauge, as soon as you touch that throttle, it's on 10 pound, and then you hear the turbos blow into it, and then you see it on 14 pound, and then they just keep creeping up.
So we're going to have another, you've got a few installs here today. We've got one that's just been completed and another one you guys have just sort of started, but we'll have one on later. So what sort of power do these TRXs make out of the box on your dyno?
They vary. I always tell people, don't worry about what the number is, it's a tuner's guide. On average, we see about 585 to 600 rear wheel horsepower stock. We will see on 98 around about 750 to 800 on about 16 to 17 pound boost, and then we'll flex it over to E85. We'll add another 4 pound boost, and then we'll see just over 1,000 horsepower. Now, just remember that's a completely stock engine, stock trans, and absolutely no issues. I've done the testing. The key thing with twin charge, there's a table in the tuning which that determines how the turbo comes on, when it comes on, and that's how you get the twin turbo or the turbo setups right, whether it's turbo by itself, twin charged.
So positive displacement supercharged V8 to me, I always think it's the perfect engine in a street car because it's just instant, and I never would have thought that you really need twin turbos because you got a fair bit of power already.
We always need twin turbos.
We always need twin turbos.
Yeah, we always need. You're a blower man, I'm a blower and twin turbo man, but you always got to have turbos.
Interesting, you do feel, especially in the wet today, you do feel the front, it does want to talk to you a bit because it makes so much torque.
Yes, they do. Yeah, so I'll give you a bit of, I'm only telling you this right now because I had my car on the dyno last week, and on 21 pound boost, it makes 1,450 newton meters of torque.
Sometimes they say huge.
In 6th gear. So that's 1-to-1 ratio. That car, well, my TRX where it sits is 1200 horsepower. It does 0 to 100 in 3 seconds.
60, 100.
3 tonne.
3 tonne, 3 seconds. Yeah.
So, but you know, it's all got to work. Everything's got to work together. But it's a combination of the supercharger and the twin turbos blowing air into the engine.
You've had a car recently we've been seeing all over social media in the 9s at Calder.
Yes, so that is Adam's TRX. So we built a 7 litre 426 engine for that. That has a 3.8 Whipple supercharger on it. It's got our stage 3 built HP95 trans. That's currently running 9.72 at 141 mile an hour.
Yeah, see, for some reason I thought that was twin turbocharged. I didn't realise it was actually
Not twin turbo,
Yeah.
that one. That one's just a 3.8 Whipple positive displacement. We're hoping to put nitrous on that in the new year, but like I said to you earlier, we don't chase the guys in the States for records. Those guys do it amazingly, but we can't afford to break things in Australia with the cost of the cost of parts and getting parts.
Yeah, I don't know, man. 960s, 970s in a ute, 3 tonne ute.
I reckon I can organise Adam to get you down the track.
Yeah.
Next time we're at Heathcote, I reckon we can get you out there.
Beautiful. So Lee, tell us a bit about this kit. There's a lot of parts. I love how you've actually laid it out.
All right, so there are a lot of parts. So let's start with the hot side. We've got 1 7/8 pacemaker ceramic coated headers, and we've also got a 3-inch catback exhaust system. So MPW have done all the fab work on the turbo kit itself, and as you can see, it's high quality. We've got some Turbo Smart turbos, so they are 6870 compact turbos. The guys at Turbo Smart are fantastic. They've been very, very helpful through this whole journey.
I like how they mirror image.
MPW's had to make some alterations to it just to make sure everything clears. We've got 45mm wastegates, Turbo Smart Gen 5, 60mm e-boost, so we've got up to 6 settings on that. Our kit also comes with flex fuel, so you can either run it on 98 or E85. With the factory computer, we've got no additional sensors. So we can set low boost on 16, 17 pound on 98, on E85. So we would go probably on a stock engine, 21, 22 pound boost.
Yeah, that much.
That much, yeah. So we'll see about 1,000 horsepower out of this on a stock engine, twin charged. But it's got the flexibility of 98 and E85.
So Lee, you offer this kit for both the 5.7 and the 6.2. Do you want to explain maybe some of the differences?
So this kit here is laid out as our twin turbo or twin charged TRX 6.2 kit. Pretty much the additional to this kit for the 5.7 twin turbo is the intercooler itself. The 6.2 2.4 supercharger runs chiller bricks as factory in the supercharger, therefore we don't need an intercooler, but our 5.7 is pure twin turbo, so we do need an intercooler for that as well. So it is very important we do have that.
So I walked past this earlier and yeah, I realised that's no LSA, mate.
This is my son's car I'm building. It's a VHSLE, it's a genuine, and it's got a 807 red-eye engine from factory, or a factory red-eye engine, which is completely stock. And it is running the HP90 8-speed transmission as well.
Yeah.
It's all going to be stock. It's got a 9-inch diff in the rear. It's mini tubbed and it's going to be engineered. But I want to show you something, Luke. If you want to come around the back, there's a reason why I want to engineer it.
I can see why you don't want to run historic plates.
Yes, correct. So that's why I'm engineering. I've had those plates since I was 18. I have had offers to buy them and I won't sell them. So please don't ask. But yeah, I'm trying to finish it for my son. It's going to run a factory Mopar standalone ECU. Runs a trans, runs the engine, and it's all tuned by HP tuners as well with the factory PCM.
So is this your daily, Lee?
This is my daily, yes,
Yeah.
correct. So I drive it every day, doesn't get parked up. I come back from Mildura yesterday and I did 1,200 kilometres. I can have a look now. So 1,285 kilometres I did yesterday. Drove it back on 98 and it's 15 litres per 100. 1,200 horsepower car, so twin charge, 1650 injectors.
Very comfortable.
Yeah, it's very comfortable. Drag challenge, I was probably the most comfortable person driving around. Aircon on.
So these are a factory, I think you said, is it 2.4 litre blower?
Yeah, that's correct. So 2.4 blower from factory. We did have a 3.8 Whipple on it, which we took to Drag Challenge. We did some testing on it. We found that the 2.4 blower actually makes more power than the 3.8 Whipple on twin charge setup, of course.
Did you say it's got a 5-inch tail shaft in it?
Yes, good friend, old mate Matt at GJ Drivelines, good fella. He did a 5-inch tail shaft for me for this. The only downfall, I had to change the center muffler to a smaller one.
Yeah.
The good thing about Pacemaker, they do a larger muffler and a smaller muffler, so we're able just to put the center section up and it fitted no problem. So, but yes, 5-inch.
You're doing the gearbox stuff as well?
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know, we actually do ZF builds in-house. So this one has our stage 2 transmission in it, which is 1600 capability. It does come with a 2-year warranty as well. Even if you're racing the car, it still comes with a 2-year warranty. We'll provide a base file tune. You'll see today, it just feels like a factory shift and trans, but holds. As you can see here, we've got them on the shelf ready to go, so customers aren't left waiting for a transmission. Normally, a typical transmission to get from the States is around 8 to 12 weeks. We've got them on the shelf, already built. HP 70 all-wheel drive, HP 95. The only one we don't keep on the shelf is a HP 75, which is in the Ram.
Yeah.
That is a little bit different because of the way the oil cooler is. And we've also got transfer cases we keep on the shelf as well for Trackhawk. And we do keep some Trackhawk discs as well on the shelf because they are a weak point when they've done over 200 passes. This is what we call a ZF95. So I believe the way they work out your 95, your 70 and your 90s is it's 950 foot-pound of torque, and your 70 is 700 foot-pound of torque, and your 90. But this is the same transmission as a factory Trackhawk, exactly the same. So a couple of little bolt point difference, but as for internals, exactly the same as a Jeep Trackhawk.
So what sort of power could you put through a stock one?
So we have had 1100 horsepower through a stock one. We've had no issues. So I had a Chrysler with a HP 90 in it that made 1100 horsepower. That ran 9.7, and that had a stock HP 90 transmission. So the difference between a 90 and 95 is the 90 is 2-wheel drive, the 95 is an all-wheel drive capability. So, and we had absolutely no issues whatsoever with that trans, and that I sold that to one of my customers, and that's still going strong with no issues whatsoever. However, we do look at long-term longevity. They do break input shafts. We have overcome that issue, and we do know why they break input shafts, so we fixed that. But we've got a couple of cars that have done over 200 passes in Trackhawks, and we're starting to see the wear and tear come through them now, and they're running low 10s with stock engines.
If I'd hopped in it and you said it was stock, I would have believed you.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad. Until I put my foot down, and then everything happens. I just touch accelerator and you watch it go straight into boost. It's, you know, there's nothing at all. So the supercharger takes all that away down low, and the turbos just feed it mid-range all the way to 7,000 RPM. You've got the supercharger, got the whistles, and then you've got the gates.
You got everything.
You got everything. So it all happens.
Look, it is a bit weird in a truck here.
Look, you do feel the weight. It is 3 ton. It's probably three and a bit, obviously, with the turbo kit as well, because it does add weight. But it is full weight. As you can see, I've got my kids' TVs, I've got my kids' seat in the back.
So what have you run in this, in the, I guess, the turbo setup?
So we ran a 10.45 at the bend during Drag Challenge.
Pickup 10.45.
We did dial in at Majora at 681, I believe, at 8th mile, which equates to a 10.6. We were consistent 10.6s, but we were a bit too fast at the bend. So I'm still new to the DYO stuff, but I believe it's 10.6 is your 10.
Oh, sorry, you dialed in at 10.6.
Dialed in at 10.6, so you've got to be as close as you can to that 10.6 over all your passes when you hand the slip in. but I only did one pass at the bend because I wanted to get to Heathcote and not drive all night.
So how does that compare? Because these are pretty quick out of the box, yeah?
Correct. So this is my second TRX. So I had a white one. So we initially took it out and ran a 12.6 completely stock, and then we tuned it and we actually got it down to a 12.2, and that had a catback exhaust on it only. Bought this turbo kit's been on it since 600 kilometers, so I've done 11,000 Ks now. We're running just over 1,000 horsepower, so twin charged with the supercharger and the twin turbos. We don't need to upgrade the trans at that power level, but just before Drag Challenge, probably 6 weeks before, I decided to build a motor, put a trans in it, put a fuel system in it, and put an interchiller in it. So, and that's currently this has now. So I am sitting at 1,700 RPM, and I'm not even sure if I'm in 8th gear. I'm still in 7th, so we're in 8th gear now, and I'm sitting at 1,400 RPM. 1,400 RPM. I'm not even in boost. So fuel consumption, we see 20 litres per 100 on E85, towing a small trailer. So the car ticks all my boxes. It does everything it needs to do. It is the ultimate package.
I reckon our GSL Lancer does 20 litres for 100 Ks on an E85.
Look, they don't build them like they used to. However, technology has come a long way for fuel consumption. And people do ask me, Luke, they always say, what do you care about fuel consumption? Well, I care about fuel consumption for my customers because we can modify a car, we can have good performance, but we've got to have performance, drivability, and fuel economy. Because as far as I'm concerned, there's no point in having a fast car that drives like a piece of crap. So we have it driving nice, and then when we want to go to places like Mildura, like I did yesterday, and I did 1,200 Ks, I get good fuel consumption. I got just over 600 Ks out of this on 98.
Yeah.
It's 1,200 horsepower.
Yeah.
You know, 1650 injectors. So it ticks all my boxes. It's the ultimate package for your TRX owners. Your 5.7 e-torque owners, we can get, if you're towing a caravan, we can get your fuel consumption down from, the feedback we get from customers, about 28 litres on a stock 5.7 e-torque. With a twin turbo setup, even a supercharger setup, we can get them down to 16 to 18, depending on the tailwind. It's very important that we do look at the fuel consumption, especially with the caravanners, because they're trying to work out how much fuel they need from place to place. They don't want to go and put fuel in at a dodgy little place on the side of the road. Caravanners don't care about horsepower, they care about torque. Even towing a race car or something like that, they care about torque. How am I going to get up that hill?
The TRX, it looks fast just standing still. You know, you just your standard sort of Ram. You'd never pick that thing's modified.
No, absolutely not. It's funny when Silverados come up next to me and you just blow their doors. They don't even know what the hell just happened, but you did hear that does whistle quite a lot, that car. So that car is currently 5 pounder boost, 540 rear wheel horsepower, and 7 pounder boost is 580. So we turned it off there. But it's making nearly 700 newton meters of torque in 6 gears. So that's what we look at. That's why we took a titanium caravan out today. That's what that kit's all about.
Yeah. And that's obviously a lower price point because the ute itself is at a lower price point.
So that kit itself is $29,995 drive away. And our TRX kit is $38,000 drive away. So TRX kit does come with a little bit of additional items like your flex fuel, where your 5.7 e-torque kit doesn't come with any of that.
I like the TRX kit, how compact it is in terms of you're not having to add another intercooler at the front. You're just using that interchiller type. Is that part of the kit, or is that's an optional extra?
That's another optional extra, yep, as well as the belly plate.
So the interchillers do work well, don't they?
They work very, very well. So, you know, for example, because of dense air, we could reduce boost by about 2 pounds and still make more horsepower, keeping the engine safe, keeping cylinder pressures down, keeping combustion temperatures down. So I always recommend an interchiller, but once again, it's always up to the customer.
We've come down to MPW, where Adam is showing us some of the 3D scanning you guys do. Technology's come a long way, hasn't it, in terms of fabrication?
It sure has. And a lot of what we do here is for other companies, like Dontex Performance. So in this instance, we do a lot of blower reservoirs and catch cans and everything for Lee's Chrysler platform. That way, if he wants anything modified, we can just modify it in the drawing, send him off a sample and powder coat in-house, and he's got it within a couple of days normally. But obviously everything that we do for whichever company is proprietary to them, so you can't purchase through us. It is exclusively through them, as these twin turbo TRX kits are through Lee.
These kits are quite complicated. It's got to be spot on, hasn't it?
Yeah, look, we've done a lot of jigging in the past with Commodore kits, all that kind of gear when we were first up and coming in the industry, and the way everybody's always done them with steel bracketry and all that kind of stuff, things change with heat and whatever. You can be, even exhaust, so even when you put a top brand exhaust on, it can be 10 mil out. It's very hard to see them all the same. So the way we do the jigs here, it's impossible for us to actually make them any different. So we've got the millimeter perfect. The whole thing is, obviously, when Lee come to see us, he wanted to push an Australian made product with Australian steel, Australian everything, hence the brand of turbos and everything that he's running on this with all of the Turbo Smart gear. And part of the contract was we had to be up to a certain quality and a certain fitment, and that's why we've actually redesigned the whole jigging system exclusively for these kits. If one part of that jig fails, we can actually reproduce that exactly the same. Instead of trying to modify a jig or anything like that, it's fully reproducible. So you'll see one thing here, the factory cross member here. So when we changed the way we wanted to run a pipe through here, for me it was just a little bit too close, and we wanted to be able to split a pipe up. So this is an early design here where the pipe comes over, and see how it comes through as one single pipe above a factory cross member here. Well, it just wasn't quite neat enough for us. So what we've done here is we've changed the whole design here to two pipes coming down the length of the car. We found it actually come on to boost better, it was more efficient, and it fits through here nicer. So we make this cross member here out of 5mm steel, but that's all drawn in CAD, obviously, as you can see, and then that's all laser cut, bent up, and then fully TIG welded to fit perfectly with the tubes coming through, and yeah, it all fits really nice.
Lee, we're in a ute today, but you guys obviously are well known for a lot of your quick Jeeps, yeah?
Yes, we are. So we've had the Jeep Australia record, Trackhawk record for nearly 3 years now, 9.3, and we're about to go faster. So Peter Sharp's got a Trackhawk. We've taken out once. We had oil pressure issues and we had a hose blow off. That car's just about ready to come out. It's at MPW getting a roll cage and a race seat put in it at the moment. And we're looking to do an 8.5, 8.6 in Pete's car. That's the plan, but
that's fast.
Yeah, that's very fast. So it still weighs 2.5 tonne. There's a little bit of weight taken out of it, but now we're just adding the weight into it. But that's got a 3.8 Whipple supercharger on it. Something like Pete's car, we would probably see 2.3, 0 to 100. And that has our stage 3 built trans in it as well.
So we've got another Ram behind us, mate. Now this one's just had a kit fitted, and you're just about to put this one on the dyno.
So this one's Matt's TRX. So we've finished that over the last week or so. We've just designed a new belly plate, so we're just test fitting it at the moment. We're about to hit the dyno this afternoon, so I'd love for you to hang around and have a listen.
Awesome. Now, a lot of people would say, you know, is it a problem having, I mean, it's not like you're the first people who've ever had turbos under a car or a truck. I've never really seen issues, as long as it's built right to start with.
As long as it's designed properly. And tested correctly. We do have a pre-filter on the filter, but once again, we've got our belly plate. Not everyone's going to want it. Maybe they want their turbos exposed, but that option is there.
Hey, we've been driving out in the rain all day, haven't we?
What did you think? You had a drive, what did you think?
I went in both the white and the black one. Now the black one's got the supercharger as well. I like the sound of that better.
Yep, of course.
You got the whine and then the whistle. I was surprised how early the turbos started spooling.
Yep.
Like it's instant.
It's straight away.
Like you would expect in a positive blown V8.
Yep.
It just feels like that. You've just got extra noise going on, and then that's a lot of power in a big truck.
There's a lot of noise too, isn't it? There's everything going on.
Basically the first pull.
First pull, pretty much, yeah.
Easy 750 horsepower.
And that's on spring pressure. It's about 17 pound.
That's the interchiller?
Yeah, it's for the interchiller. So to put it on drag mode only, so it switches the cabin off. And then what we do before we do a run, we monitor it, and we want that down into around about 5 before we do a run. I don't like to do a run in negative because it can freeze over, it can misfire. Ready to go?
Yeah.
17 pound boost.
631 kilowatts or 847 horsepower.
I think we're good on 98.
Yep.
So there's no need to keep running. Don't need to keep running it up because at the end of the day, all I need is a basic tune for a 98.
Yeah.
Now we'll go over to I'll clean the fuel trims up a bit. We'll go over to E85, add another just probably 150 horsepower.
So power was one thing, but something like this, obviously it makes a lot of torque.
Yes, it does. So we'll go out and check. 98, I would expect 17 pound boost, maybe 920, 950 newton meters of torque in 6 gear. E85, it'll be close to 1100 because we are adding another 4 pound boost. So, and we don't have much timing in the 98. We try and encourage customers to drive it on E85 as a performance fuel and using the 98 as a convenience fuel. So if they want to go from Sydney to Melbourne, there's no fuel, put it in, but as you can see clearly, it's safe as anything and they can enjoy it on 98 too.
Well done, Lee.
Thank you, mate, appreciate it. Thank you. Makes me smile because I can give a customer a really, really good product and a good result.